No? Are we done? Huh. The meeting's over. Decision has been made. Hey, campus, Georgia. Mary, but she left, having a meeting in the man cave about these two knives. What to do. Mary made a decision. Let's check it out. So what I'm talking about is these two knives. See these? Okay. I got these at the gun show with Keith the other day when we went out to the local Wyndham gun show. I was looking at them and they really are one of my favorite, I don't want to say styles, types of knives. Thin, right? Very thin, cool looking, simple 1 or 2 blade knives go great in my pocket. I'm not one of those have a bunch of stuff in my pockets guys. I struggle with my car keys. Never mind a big pocket knife like, I don't know, this beauty. Okay, you can see the difference. So for me, these are very cool. And you know what? 1 or 2 blades is all I need. So this knife here, this one, like I said, I found it at the knife show. And I looked at it and I was like, who are these people? And Keith said to me, what does it say? And if you look really carefully there, can you see that? It says challenge. Didn't know anything about them. And Keith was like, Bridgeport, Massachusetts. And I was like, yeah. He goes, ooh, good one. And you know, when I looked him up, I was like, wow, he was right. And if you look at the blade, it's pretty beat up, okay? A lot of scratching on it and whatnot. But you know, for me, it's a really old knife, a big plus for me, and it needs some work. And you can clean this up and, you know, bring it down and make it maybe a spear point and just clean it up nicely. Beautiful little knife. And yeah, $3. Who would have thunk, right? I looked up Challenge, and they from way back. What's really cool about them is the company was formed in 1891 and ran through 1928. Now, they weren't around for that long, but the cool thing is that George Schrade, here we go, actually got involved with the company because he designed and, he did a lot of knife designs, and he gave them the rights to a specific knife. And that's how he became involved in them. And they did really well. In 1928, the actual owner of Challenge passed away and they closed down. Nobody took it over. They originally had ties in Sheffield in England, is where the Challenge Knife Company originally started and was bought by the guy who was in Massachusetts and started the company there. They weren't around very long, very popular, sought after knives, and I can see why. Look at this thing. It's really well made. Beautiful handle, nice and slim, single blade, very clean. As old as it is, there's still a lot on that spring. And that says something. If you give it a little bit of oil, it's going to snap closed. And like I said, if I just take the time to maybe bring this into a spear point, or even drop it off a little bit and bring it up to a drop point, it'll be very cool. You don't want to take too much off, and then try and clean up as much of the scratching and everything that's on it there. Typical really old knife back in the day. People who bought their knives Who knows what they use to sharpen them? But the cool thing is, look at that. And it's pretty cool. It's basically, comes out here where it kind of can't think of the name for it. Swell end and really flat. Very nice. So I want to clean this guy up and let's see what we can do with it, with that blade. The other one is this guy here. Now, two things. One, the handle. I saw the handle in the box and I was like, oh, immediately picked it up. And then, of course, the other thing is, I love these easy opens. And I didn't know this because most of the easy opens I have got are single blade. And I didn't know there were two blade. And this one just happens to be a two blade, easy open, swell end, whatever you want to call it. And you can see the easy open there in pretty obvious. Now, if you look at the handle here and then look at the handle here, it looks like it's toast, right? Well, I'm going to scratch it here quickly. And if you look carefully where I scratched, it's green under there. The handle is oxidized. And if you clean that white off, it's going to land up looking like this. Allegedly. We'll have to be careful. We'll go slow with it. But I think, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And here you can see it had this blade obviously was a spear point with the belly, which gone away from sharpening and whatever. And it's got a nice little pen blade on there. A little scratched up and whatnot. But the other cool thing is, I don't know what's going on because I can tell you that lately when Keith and I and Michael are out antique shopping, we're seeing a lot of these. See that? Kent, right? Here's the tank stamp and the info. Very cool, two blade, easy open jack. Nice and thin with a very cool handle on it. And it's even got a shield, badge, whatever you want to do. See the long pull on it there. Very cool. I really like this knife. And I have a lot of Kents, and I've never seen one like this. Most of my Kents are a little bit smaller, typical sleeve board style, that sort of thing. So very cool to come across this guy. So that's what I want to deal with today. And that is these two. Now I want to try something. About less than a year ago, I spent some money getting some equipment. And what it was Dremel, right? I got myself a nice, you've seen me use it, the Dremel press. And I got the big fancy battery operated big Dremel. And I got some other accessories as well. Well, I'm in the man cave. And in the man cave, there's not a lot of ventilation. And when I say ventilation, there's no way for me to put an extractor fan in here. And that's the problem when you use power equipment. I would love to use Dremels. It would make my life a lot easier. And don't get me wrong, I like doing things by hand. It gives me a lot of pleasure, and I just, I'll sit there and sand away. You've seen me do it. And I'll sand for hours. And the main reason I do that is no ventilation in the man cave. And that is a problem. If you're cleaning these things, these old carbon blade ones, not as bad. You start polishing with a Dremel on stainless and things like that, the dust that they generate stays in the air. And you breathe it in, and it's nasty. I always wear a mask. I have a mask if I'm using my Dremel, even when I sand. If I don't, a reminder for me, I can taste the metal in my mouth. And I have an extractor fan by the window, but it's just not enough movement for the room. But long story short, I'm going to take my Dremel stuff and I'm going to go down to the South 40 shed, open the doors up, And I want to see how much of a difference, if any, I get using the Dremel stuff. Now, you're limited with Dremel as far as grain on your buffing material, whatever you're using, your sanding discs or whatever. The highest you're going to get is probably about 3,000 grit. That's all I've been able to find for the Dremels. You know, when you want to shape the blade, I do it with a file, and I have to file it away, and it's not easy. But if I can use the Dremel or something in outdoors or in an open, safe area, I can do it a lot quicker and probably get a better result, because you have a lot more control when you're using a grinding wheel, you know, to shape a blade or something like that. Or when I get a knife that I like, but the handle's destroyed and I've got to put a G10 handle on there, I'm sitting there filing like crazy on the G10 to get it to shape to the knife. If I can get around that and do the heavy stuff with that stuff and then finish off with, you know, 7 or 10,000 grit sandpaper and then polish it with mothers, it'll save me a lot of time. That's the main thing. Doing it by hand is time consuming, and I struggle with that. Sometimes my projects will take 3 days to do because it takes that long to do it by hand. I like doing it by hand, and it's a real struggle for me to decide what way I want to go. Right now, I don't have a choice because I'm in the man cave. It's a health hazard. I can't move enough air through here to get it out of there, and it just stays in the air, and it's not good for you. It's nasty stuff. So there's that. So what I want to do is I'm going to take these down to the South 40 man cave, the shed back there. I have no electricity there. Solar lights, solar powered overhead light, but all my Dremel stuff is battery. Just charge the battery, go down there and work with it, and I'm good. And I've been looking at some of the other accessories that could maybe help me in making it a little bit easier and quicker to do without taking away the quality that I'm looking for. So there's that. So today, let's go Dremel these guys and finish them off with some really high, fine grit, sandpaper and polish. And let's see what happens, okay? So let's head on down there and have at it. Okay, we're in the man cave in the South 40. Spent 2 hours cleaning it up. It was a mess. Can't work like that. Got to have a clean workbench. It's a safety issue as well. Just saying, it's not just me. So I brought everything I hope I'm going to need. My Dremel stuff, the knives and everything. So let me put everything around, and then let's have a look at these knives and how we're going to use the Dremel and what we're going to do. Okay, hopefully you can see now. Kind of. We got sunshine, so hopefully the light will stay on. It is solar, so there you go. So here I have my sanding stuff, hand sanding stuff and things like that. Looking at this, I can drop this down, turn it on its side, and put the cleaning stuff on the side and work on the side, which I kind of like because it frees up both hands. So I think I'm going to do that and see how I do. Also, have a bunch of these things, which are basically polishing, sanding things. I'll put all the information below if you want to have a look at it. Anywho, this comes in different grits. It's like sandpaper, except you put it on your Dremel and you use it. So that's what I'm looking at there. And the different colors are different grits. Can never remember, so I have a piece of paper. We got that. I've got polishing wheels. I've got sanding wheels. I've got all sorts of things. I want to use this. I'll set it up for you so that you see. Basically, I'm going to turn this on its side so that I have access to it. And don't forget, safety, mask, gloves, eye protection. Very important. When you're using any sort of high-speed hand tool, things tend to fly off. And I have noticed that these things, they actually come apart. They break up the threads and fly all over the place. So always wear safety glasses. The first thing I want to do is this guy, which is the Kent. It's a 2-blade, easy open. I'm going to use some sandpaper here because remember I said that the white stuff is like oxidation. So I'm going to try it there and let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure it'll work. So let's do that first so that I know we can clean that off. And then we'll get to the rest of it with the Dremel. So I've got some used 2000, the foam back grit, 2000 grit sanding paper. And you can see the white. I'm just going to go along the edge here and see if the green comes out. I'm not pressing very hard. And it's starting to come out. You see that? So, woot, that's going to work. I just need to work on it and get rid of as much of the oxidation as I can. So there it is there with a little bit, and that's what I want it to look like, kind of. Very exciting. It actually worked. I'm going to just go over it with 3000 on both sides and let's see if they look the same. Just very quickly to give it a little bit more shine. Because I'm going to go to as high as I can on it. Now this is a round one. I got this. I can't remember if this was a mail call or not, but it's actually a disc for sanding, and you can put it on a Dremel, and it's just it attaches to the thingy there. Might try that. We'll see. The plot thickens. So there you go. Right? That'll work. I really like this handle. It's pretty. And then when we go to 10,000 on the handle, we should be looking peachy keen. Now, we got to deal with these. This is where the Dremel comes in. So let me get that all set up. And I'm not sure. I might start with about 400 grit and see if we can smooth out the blade a little bit. You can see there, hopefully, there's a lot of scratching on it. And of course, we'll have to clean up the edges, but we'll give them a go and see what happens. You loosen this off, and this one. There we go there. Tighten that one back up. And then let's drop it down. That might be a good spot right there. Let's change out the tool. And this is not a good start. I put it somewhere and I forgot where. Oh, okay, found it. So looking at the numbers here, 400 grit. So we'll use that first. Let's see. Yeah, I have to change our stuff. So let me do that. That'll probably work. Although I'd like my hands, I don't know if this is the lowest. It'll go a little lower. Yeah, I think that's better. All right. By the way, this little gizmo up here is awesome. You can see, I'll show you. You can see here, I have a bunch of drill bits and the ferrules that hold them. They're all different sizes, and trying to remember which one works with which one, I just put them up here and they're together. These are the most popular ones I use. It makes life so much easier. I really like that idea. And of course you got your wrench places and things like that. Pretty cool. I'm very impressed with these guys. They've made some good stuff that I didn't know existed. And let's make sure it works. All right. Safety glasses. Got this I got to put on. It's painful because you can't really talk because you won't hear me, so you've got to lift it, drop it down, get it out of the way to talk and whatever, and then go again. It's kind of painful, but bear with me here. It works. I mean, it's reduced it a lot, and it didn't take very long. Certainly cleaned up some of the heavy scratching. The problem that concerns me is overheating and taking too much metal. So you don't want to be pressing hard on it or anything like that. Just, take a little off at a time. I think that's as much as I want to do with 400. Let's do the other blade and see where we are. So you can see here, it takes off a lot of the rough stuff, which is very cool, and it took me 10 minutes. Now, it does leave marks, and the one thing I've noticed, no matter how careful I am, you get high and low spots. And I don't mean on the metal, I mean just the shiny parts. So that's where I'll go to hand. The problem with this is that getting into these corners and things like that. So I think I need to go by hand. And of course, doing these, you have to be really careful when you're doing the edges and that you're not going to hit the cover of the handle, because it'll melt that in a hurry. But I'm going to give it a try with a higher grit. Okay, this is what I was hoping to use, was that spinny thing to go onto the Dremel here. The problem is the spindle is just way too big. But you know what? I can just do it by hand. It's foam back 3000, which is, I'm used to that. Certainly didn't have to spend a lot of time getting rid of the bad stuff, and could probably get rid of the rust as well without dipping. But that's another story. Let me do it by hand. So here we are here. And we just back to have at it, right? Yeah. Obviously going to a higher grit helps, but you can still see the scratch marks from the Dremel. But if we persist, and I can tell you, the higher we go, the less obvious those scratches. You can still see the scratches, but with the shine, getting rid of these heavy scratches, too much metal. I'm not willing to do that. So that was quick. A lot quicker. Obviously, a lot quicker. Let's get at this guy. See what we can do. Quickly with the 1000, back to 3. Doesn't take a lot, does it? Obviously an advantage with that Dremel. Getting rid of the heavy stuff. Need to find out if I can get higher grits on the Dremel stuff. Would be really nice, but I suppose you could polish with it. I wonder if we just go straight to polish. The other problem is along here. You're going to have to be very careful. In fact, I think I'm going to try it. I'm going with the grade because that's the highest grit they have. And that is 600. And we're going to try and get rid of this nastiness here. And maybe, depending on how we go here, get rid of, clean these edges up. I'm a little nervous about this. Let me get my gloves and everything. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and it was pretty quick. This is promising. Do I want to do the bolster? Well, let's do them. Let's do the bolsters as well. That did it pretty good, and that's at 600. That's not bad at all. The bolsters is nickel silver, and that's what worries me, is you're going to get into it very quickly. I think I'd rather do that by hand. Let's do the 2K. No, 1000. Seems to get rid of the scratches. It is soft. Let's go to 3. And you can hear the difference. That and some mothers, and we be good. That's not bad. And about a third of the time I'd normally spend to get to this. Very exciting. Let's clean the nail nicks. And there you can see, nail nicks are nice and clean. But, of course, when you use a wet dry, you're going to scratch around the edges. And it comes obvious, but the polish will take that away. Let's do the pen blade. Now, and then I really want to try polishing. Now we've got to clean up the well quickly before we think about polishing. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. All very exciting. Sharp blades. Get into those little nooks and crannies in between the spaces the whole way. So here we go here. Let's see if we can see it inside there. Very nice. All right. Let's shine it up. I want to go to a high grit on here. And then mothers, but the rest, let's do it on the Dremel and use a polishing wheel. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. Oh boy, where did I catch it? Right there. Can you see there? I slipped and it just went right into that. You have to clean that up. It actually polishes okay. Prefer to do it by hand with mothers. Oh boy, don't get that happening. Let me fix that quickly. So there we are there. And now I'm going to get some mothers, which I left in the cottage. Let me go get that. So here we are here now. And now I'm just going to go over the whole thing with mothers. I need a lot with mothers, and it doesn't take much. Get into those. I use the tip of my nail to put pressure into the nail nicks. Really helps. I'm planning on a workbench outdoors, well, out the back of the cottage for good days. Well, I don't need to shelter in place. It does even out the shine nicely. Get the other blades done, and then the rest, and I'll show you the end.
Pretty little thing, isn't it? So now I'm going to oil the joints here at the bolster, and then we'll sharpen it. But before we do that, we're going to get onto the other guy. I'll show you the before and after. Let me oil. That spring is a little weak. Most used part, of course. But it has a half stop and it closes pretty good. That tip is below. They both have half stops. I like this knife. Very nice. You can see the goop coming out with the oil. Let it sit for a while. Just, you can see, obviously the tang or the spring is worn, but it'll work. So now we got this guy, my $3 special. And it's just a single blade like this. It's a nice knife. We've got to fix that blade though. I'm going to hit it with the Dremel, get as much of that scratching off, and then we'll look at just cleaning up the shape here a little bit, making it more of a drop point, spear point style, and then clean her up just like we did before. I'm going to a lower grit. It's a little better, but the scratching is still there. See that? It's just not as obvious. So it actually helps. And of course I have to keep dipping it because it's getting really warm. You don't want that. There it is there. It's turned out way better than I thought it would. Cleaned up the blade a little bit. We'll put a tip on there when we sharpen. Shined up nicely. And I'm going to put some oil on it. Then we'll go back to the man cave and sharpen both of them. This one has good snap out the box. before we did anything to it. Oh, don't even need to work it, but you can see good snap, half stop. Oh, look at that, nice spring. Very nice. 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 Very, very happy with this guy.
There you are, campers. Whew. This is very exciting for me. I don't know about you, but hey, I got two very nice oldies but goldies, the Kent, and of course, you know, this guy, and then this guy from, you know, Challenge, a knife company. Yeah, what was the dates? Here we go. 1891 to 1928. How about that? So it's at least somewhere in that period. Didn't know who they were. You know, like I said, Keith knew right away. And look how it cleaned up, right? Not bad, considering. And the amazing thing about this guy, here it is, yeah, it's a half stop. Cleaned up the blade, gave it kind of a drop point look. I'm not sure what it was before. There's no model numbers or anything on it, so I don't know. I would have to do a picture search and see if I could find one. It's basically a single blade swell end, right? It's almost sleeve board, except it has that. So very cool, cleaned up nicely. And of course, the snap on this spring, obviously, whoever had this used it a lot because you could see the blade had been sharpened a lot. But maybe they just over sharpened. People tend to, every time they use a knife, they sharpen it. And back in those days, they were using some rough stuff to sharpen, so you lost a lot of the blade. But such good condition for how old it is. I mean, the blade, it took some to clean it up. I didn't, you know, I just made it into a drop point. And then when I was sharpening it, I noticed it had a divot in it. So I had to get past that to get a clean cut. And I actually went to a lower grade. I went to 180 and just ran it over until that divot disappeared. Then I stopped, went to 600 and 1,000. And it worked out. I mean, we still got plenty of blade here to work with. Very nice. Beautiful little knife. Very happy about this guy. And then we got the Kent, right? Very cool. 2-blade. Easy open. You can see it there. Look how that handle turned out. Remember, this back here was just oxidized. And offhand, I don't know how much I paid for it. I mean, I paid $3 for this guy. $3. People not knowing what they have. And granted, it was a little beat up and the blades beat up, but $3 for an old guy like that, all day for me. And here we have the Kent 2-blade, easy open. I have a lot of Kents. I like them. I like their associations. Fanboy. And, you know, it's got a nice shield on it there. Handle cleaned up. The oxidation went away. And sharp and shiny. And, of course, it has that long nail pull on it. It's got the pen blade. Very nice. Really like this pretty knife. Very pretty. The handle is just awesome. The snap, the walk and talk, not so good. Probably because it's worn away, you know, it'll wear on the tang and on the spring. So after a while, the snap goes away. But hey, it's got a hard stop, and you know what? It works for me. That'll work. Stays in there. It's not going to come out. The point's still down. So very cool. Very happy about this. And of course, they cleaned up beautifully. Need a cup of coffee. I'm losing my voice again. Now, here's the big thing. I'm looking at the time. 2:37 in the afternoon. Yeah, I started this project. I think I sat down and started filming and talking about it at about 9:30, quarter to 10. So what's that? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 4 hours. In 4 hours, I filmed, and that meant messing around with everything, moving stuff around, and cleaned up, sharpened 2 pocket knives. 3 days ago, I did a video, and it took me all day. I started at 8 in the morning and went and went and went. Today, I even stopped and had lunch. In fact, I went into town and had lunch with Travis. He called and he said, let's go have lunch. We needed to catch up. Had lunch with Travis, came back, and here we are. I'm done. You know what that means? Normally, it's 6 o'clock. Don't have anything time to do anything else. If I'd known this, I would have planned better and started at, well, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning, banker's hours. Started at 9. I would have been done earlier. I have leather. We could have made slips all in one day. Awesome. Awesome. I like this idea. I like the idea of the Dremels. A couple of shortfalls with them. But, you know, I don't need power. They're all battery. And it does limit them. And, of course, the size and their accessories kind of limit to what you can do. You know, if you're doing jewelry, their polishing system will work. Too small for this. So I had to finish off by hand. But that initial cleanup and everything was so quick. I was like, oh, wow. I will say this, you know, it's that time of the year. I actually did a members video on this. It's that time of the year, spring, summer, you start to get the emails from affiliate people saying, I've got some underwater basket weaving tools for you to showcase for us on your channel. You're a perfect fit. Not really. I don't do anything underwater. You get inundated with that stuff. But every now and again, somebody pops up and goes, we watched your channel and we think this would be good for you to show to your viewers. We'll send you the product, yada, yada, yada. Well, Vivo got a hold of me and they said they have an ultrasonic. Well, they gave me a choice of about 4 different things. Said, you interested? We'll send this to you. We just want at least a 7-minute video. They had ultrasonic cleaner. Now, I got to tell you, with all the health issues, dealing with cleaning and stuff like that, masks, ventilation, yada, 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 I'm also thinking about, you know, I'm using rust remover. got to dip my bad ones. If I can get around that without using some nasty stuff, and the stuff I use is the least nastiest of them all. An ultrasonic cleaner I never considered, but it was a big one. And I said, appreciate it. I've looked at your stuff. There's some things I'm interested in, but the ultrasonic cleaner, it's too big. I don't have the space. And they said, no problem. Here's a smaller one. It's on the way. Woot. So you're going to be seeing that soon. And I've never used one. Keith has one, and I want to say the one he uses is what they sent me. And he said it's awesome. So I don't know when I'm going to have to do some research on how long, how hot, how what you do to clean a knife, a pen knife in there, without damaging the scales and things like that. So it's stuff I've got to learn. I've got a lot of real beaters that I can test on. Maybe I'll go over to Keith's place and we'll go down to his man cave. Yeah. His man cave's bigger than the college. No, it's an exaggeration, but it's close. Maybe we'll do some experimenting together and I'll see what he said. My whole point is I'm now looking at things I can use that are going to save me time without reducing the quality of what I produce. To me, that's important. When I'm done, I want to go, wow, look at that. It looks almost brand new again, as much as possible. And that's, for me, that's what I want. They're going into my collection and I want them to look like somebody cared. Just like these two. And if Dremel has enough products, and they do have some other stuff that I got from them. They've got a vise. They do have a table saw system that's actually in a case. Folds out. It's not big. It's like a skill saw. Not a skill saw. What am I thinking of? Whatever it is. You can cut stuff and angle it and do all that good stuff. And I'm thinking, when I replace a blade, I'm doing it all by, a handle. I'm doing it all by hand. It's rough cut. I spend hours getting down to the size I wanted. If I can do an accurate cut to start off with, where I don't have so much left over, and then use whatever I have to do it, I'm looking at products that you and I can afford. Well, I can afford. You know how tight my budget is. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm a budget channel. I don't use expensive things. I look to get what my budget allows and get the best possible thing in that budget. That's what I do. So back to Vivo, they're sending me that. But when I was looking through their website, they have a 3-in-1 mini sanding system. And basically, it's a very small disc grinder, belt grinder, and a polishing wheel on it. And it's small. And I thought, perfect. I could use that anywhere. It does require power, but I can do it outside on my bench I'm about to build. And that I don't have to worry about the health concerns about ventilation and things like that. So I'm starting to, I used to get all those emails from everybody and I would just go delete, delete, delete. I think now I'm going to look a little closely at it. It has to be something that I personally use, because I don't like showing you a product that I'm never going to use. So you're never going to see that. And you know what? It needs to be affordable, that you and I can afford. So there you go. I finished with my little rant. We got 2 knives. I can make slips for these guys and still put it in one video and do it within a day and just spend the evening editing it, and I'm done. Right now, videos take me 2, sometimes 3 days. 2 days to make the video and another couple of hours of editing. So it's really hard for me to produce a good quality, the results I want in the time I'd like to do. I always feel go, 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 because I'm doing it by hand. When I use the Dremel, it's less than half the time I would spend doing it by hand. And therein is the good thing. So you're probably going to see more of that. Still have to finish it off by hand. So I'll still be doing things by hand. I always finish it off. So we'll see. And it just broadens what I can do for the channel. 2 new knives for the collection. Very nice. Old school cutters. Right? You will be safe when you're doing this. You see what it takes. We talked about safety and health reasons. Do it in a ventilated place. Be careful of the tools you use. Be familiar with them. Know that you can control them. And not only that, you don't want to damage the handles like I did. I got away from it just like that. And I had landed up having to clean it up. It's not perfect. Can still see there. But, you know, I'm learning with this stuff now that I've decided to actually use it. So be careful, be safe, wear a mask, eye protection, gloves, just be safe. Just saying. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. In fact, a couple of minutes ago, Keith got a hold of me and said, road trip tomorrow, 3 places. It's going to be quite a road trip. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. And we'll see. By the way, I need your thoughts below about using things like Dremel and things like that. I know a lot of you always say to me, amazed you do it by hand. Not really by choice. Oh, no, it is by choice. I choose to do that because I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Sometimes I just get frustrated. It's just me. Oh yeah,